So I'm now on the third slide set. I have all the way up to 7, but this should go quickly. So what we've done so far is we've gotten started with MLab. You have some exposure to typing these things out and getting something shown on screen. And we've looked at the basic functions that we had. What we look at now is how to do animation. So basically, if I want to generate a set of images and then generate a movie from it, so Mayavi is not going to generate the movie itself. You're not going to get an MPEG or something out of it. But you can generate a set of PNGs or JPEGs that you can then convert into a movie or a GIF or whatever you want. So again, we're going to start with the same two things first. We do import, we set the GUI to Qt. Then we do from, import numpy as MP. So I didn't do the star this time. And Mayavi import MLab. So all that I'm discussing now is specific to MLab, which means many of the MLab functions do some magic to make it a little easier for you to do these animations. So which means things like points 3D, plot 3D, surf, all of these things expose a little bit of additional functionality, make it very easy to do some animations. So if you remember, when you do plot 3D, it returned something. So Python basically said out something, 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 right? That object has an attribute called mlab_source, right? That attribute allows you to configure what you can do with this animation. You can say, okay, change the scalars to this, change the position here, do all of this stuff, okay? So setting those attributes will automatically update the plot. And this is not just the attributes that you saw on the UI. This is the underlying data. So there are two things happening, right? When we set up those NumPy arrays, we gave the visualization system some data, and that data was then shown to you. Once the data was loaded up, you could change the contours, you could do a bunch of stuff, but you couldn't change the data itself, right? So what we are looking to do is say, can I change the underlying data and generate a visualization, right? So to do that, you need to do this MLab source thing. So here's a very simple example. So start with MLab CLF, generate an MGrid, and we just have a surf. So what do you think this surface should look like? Quick guess. So it's essentially a plane, right? So it's a plane because it's a graph sheet, and z is just x into 0.1. All right? So it's essentially along the x-axis, the plane is going upwards. It's a ramp, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for I in range 10, notice what I did here. I say s is mlab.surf, then s.mlab_source dot scalars is x into 0.1 into I plus 1. So what this should do is you should see a plane like that, and the plane should just go up like that, right? So let's just run this. The problem is it finished too fast, right? I mean, it just sort of moved everything up, so there's no animation for you to really see. So let's try and slow it down. So I'm going to just import time. All the change I've made is I import time here, and I added a time.sleep, okay? And make it even slower here so I can see it even. Oh, too slow. But it still didn't look like it really animated, right? It looks like it just showed me the final solution, right? So just to be sure that it is doing something, I'm going to basically say dump the stupid thing into an image and then see whether it does that. It still doesn't look like it's done much, but it should have put some bunch of images here, right? So let me see if I can get that. Yes, it did something. So let me see if I can. Oh, sorry. Okay, so it did do something, but it just didn't look visually appealing, right? It didn't look like an actual animation. So what's happening here? All right, so is this code clear? I mean, I haven't done anything fancy. I just added this one line where I'm just using this trick to generate a stack of images ordered correctly so that it has enough zeros. I only have 10 values, so it's 0 padded with 0 ones. So it'll be 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, so on and so forth. Okay, so how do I make this animate so that actually on the UI it looks like something happens? So if you're running Mayavi 4.6.1, which I just pushed a few days back, which you probably are, if you run this script, it will basically, it's going too fast, sorry. So maybe I will make this 100. Is that too much? Too little? Yeah, it should be okay. So notice that it's moving. Oh, it's finished. Okay? But I could see that it was moving, and in fact, I could interact with that window. So what's happening is, essentially, there's a UI, right? So when I run a for loop, the UI can't do anything. It's kind of stuck, right? Because I'm doing a bunch of stuff. So if I just say mlab, go and process UI events, it'll allow people to still interact with the window. And it'll look prettier. So if you want to just make a visualization and you want it to appear as if it's a visualization, just stick in this one line saying mlab.process UI events, it'll look better. But if you didn't care about how it looks, you just wanted those set of images, this is perfectly fine. Is that clear? So I mean, you can animate the data, it just may not look, you may not get the correct result. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Now sometimes, yes, please.
So far you save images as a raster 2D image. Is it possible to save as a real 3D format like U3D or X3D?
X3D you can. Yes, you can. So if you just did .x3d, it would save it as an X3D. Okay. It will work. The only thing is you have to be careful about some of these, because if you have a lot of polygons, your file is going to become massive each time. So that's the caveat. The other thing is some things don't quite render exactly right on X3D, because VTK's exporter to X3D is not perfect. So there are certain things that may not work as you expect. But for the most part, it will do. For pretty simple visualizations that we've done up to now, it should work. All right, so now sometimes you want to animate, but you want to set multiple attributes. So then you can just use s.mlabsource.set and pass it whatever keyword argument. So let's just try this. Let's rerun this. Okay, ran too quick, it's okay. Yeah, okay, it's doing it. Is that fine? So you can basically set multiple things at the same one shot, so it's convenient. But sometimes you change the data completely, right? So supposing you start off with a data set that has like 10 points, but you increase the number of points, right? In this case, you got to be careful, because if you just go and set an attribute for the wrong size, you will end up blowing things up. So if you want to reset the number of points, you use something called reset. Okay. So supposing you say, I have 10 points to start with, and I'm going to increase it to 20 and then 30. You just do mlab.source.reset, and it will essentially allow you to reset the same number of points. So this may seem like, why are we doing all of this? Why is this additional, something changed? Supposing you didn't have this facility, what would happen is you would essentially have to do a CLF every single time, reconstruct that data, and redo the whole thing. For these small examples that I've been showing you, that's okay. But if you have a massive data set, you have like hundreds and thousands of points or 10,000 points, you don't want to keep on doing that thing. If you just do a quick set or a reset, it's a much faster way so that the rest of the pipeline remains the same. Is that okay? So I'm not even going to execute these. So here, for example, we started off with a plane with just 3x3 elements. Now we have something with 10x10 elements. And it will essentially allow you to do it completely seamlessly. Is that all right? So essentially, if you change the shape of your data, supposing you created a bunch of points. If you increase the number of points, you got to use reset instead of set. Otherwise, set will not do exactly what you expect. All right, so just a recap. So mlab source.set will do multiple attributes for you. If you change this shape, use reset. So if you're looking for a bunch of examples to do the animation, if you look at mlab.test underscore anim, there's an anim at the end. That's usually an animation example. Is that okay? And it gives you a bunch of these examples that you can tinker with if you looking for inspiration. All right. Now sometimes you want to do a little better than this. If you write it up as a function, which is a generator. So how many of you have ever written a generator? Okay, cool. Okay, so this is for you guys. So if you just convert this function into a generator and then decorate it with this mlab animate. So let's just run this for what it's worth. So notice that I have an animation. I could stop the animation and I can start the animation. Okay, and I can change the timer so it'll allow me to control this on a UI. So this is sometimes convenient if you want to set up something and you want an animation to be running and you want it configurable. All right? So you can just use that example to play around with this. Is that okay? So again, this is just convenience, so that if you want to have a function that animates your data and you want to play nicely with the UI, you can do so with this. You just write a function, stick a yield statement at the end. All of the examples, the anim function, test anim functions will do exactly this. They'll all be generators that you can just call, decorated with this mlab.animate, and it will essentially allow you to control the animation a little bit at least. You can also call the decorator with additional arguments. If you say, I don't want the UI to pop up, I want the delay to be 100 milliseconds and not 500 milliseconds, you can configure it. All right? So we've looked at two things, mlab source.set, reset, and then we looked at process UI events, we looked at animate, these four things. Is that fine? So this makes it pretty easy for you to create your own animations. There's an exercise, which I'm not going to ask you to look at. It's a simple exercise. All it does is, it starts with this. You want to try this? Or should we just move on? Because we have an hour and a half. That's a good question. That's an excellent question. So let's try and answer that question. So here, if you notice, sorry. So one way is to look at the documentation, unfortunately. The other way is, if you do this .tab, you'll see a bazillion options, all right? That's too many options. If you did print traits, s.mlab source.print oh boy, it will show you a bunch of attributes. The data set is something, if you don't know what it is, don't mess with it. Mdata is the underlying Mayavi data set. So if you want to go and futz with that, you can. Mask, ignore that you can actually mask points. Scalars is available, X is available, Y is available, Z is available. So usually when you call the original function like points 3D, you had X, Y, Z scalars. Okay? It will mimic that. All right? So usually this is a nice way for you to find out exactly what attributes are available on each of these mlab source. All right? And it's documented in the user guide, I hope. If not, you can file an issue on Mayavi and you can fix that. Is that okay? All right. So you want to do this exercise, or should I just move on? I leave it to you. So basically we have this, we start with this. The exercise does the following. I want you to animate this so that this looks like a moving wave, all right? So let's say you want to make a picture like this and put it up somewhere, or for whatever it is you want. Can we use the animation stuff we've learned to do this? It's not very hard. So I'll just go over the solution quickly. Is that okay? Okay. All right. So let's look at the solution. So all I do is, just to make it a pretty animation, I say import time. I do range 25. So what I do is I just add a phase to the np.sine. So look at our original thing was z is np.sine x squared plus y squared. I just add a phase to it, multiply that by I, and that just sort of moves, right? So if I run this, it looks like that. And it's actually gone and dumped a bunch of PNGs. I could convert that to a movie if I wanted to. All right? Yes, please.
Let's say you have a lot more x values than y values. Is there a way to force a surface to a square plane?
So the dimensions that you have along the don't have to be the same. Along x and y don't have to be the same. I have been using the examples that way, but you can have 10 points in y and 100 in
So
y.
I have a data set that's like 100 data points one dimension and 30 the other.
That should be fine.
And it shows up as a rectangle instead of on a square. And
But-
then because they have completely different
Axis?
ranges,
Okay.
so like one's 2 to 8 and the other one's minus 5 to 120.
Okay.
And then the z value is actually like 0.01.
Okay.
You can't see any z resolution.
Because it's too small.
Yeah.
Is
So you
so
can always scale it, right? But
you can.
the x and y are still completely different.
So you want something where you want the data to be
But there's no automatic thing like in like a command that says put the axes on a square.
no. So it doesn't do an axis on a square, but you can specify an extent and basically say fit this into this extent. So if you look at the documentation for any of these functions, like mesh or whatever, there's something that says extent, which will allow you to kind of scooch it along one direction
Okay.
or any direction you want. Okay, so you can just check the documentation for that. There may be some examples floating around. You can search for it. Is that okay? Yes.
I have version 4.6.0.
That doesn't have the process UI events alone. The rest of it should work. I just added that thinking it would be a nice, easier way than having you to write a decorator for every one of these. So, yeah. Any other questions? Can we move on? All right. So one nice feature when you write the decorated version is, if you have a figure, and if you just set the scene's movie maker, so if you remember when I was configuring the background for the scene, there was a movie dialog there. If you check that on, that will basically record movies when you run an animation. So it'll automatically dump a stack of images for you in a predetermined directory, which you can configure. So for example, I'm going to run this. It's running this, all right? The view is bad because I've not done any fancy setup of the view. But if I go to, I'm in my documents directory, the default is Mayavi_movies in your documents folder. And that has this stack of images. All right? So it's just a convenient thing if you have an animate function you just wrote that you decorated, you can just turn on the record and it'll automatically dump a stack of images for you. Is that okay? It's just another convenience. Okay. All right.